Welcome to Small Business Social, the podcast where we celebrate makers, dreamers, and doers building big things in their communities. I'm Kara Varikis.
I'm Steve Seymour.
And we're here to shine a light on small business owners and experts who inspire us all. This episode is brought to you by Seymour Media, helping small businesses thrive with commercial photography and video, and the Bristol Bazaar, your go-to place for the perfect gift. So today we have a totally different guest. I'm so excited to introduce you to Bob Dickson, who's the president of Dale Carnegie Training here in Connecticut. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on our show with us.
Oh, Kara, it's very nice to be here. Thank you so much.
I am so excited. So we have had tons of entrepreneurs on the show. We have had small business owners. We've had makers. We have yet to have anybody who can help shine a light on all the things that I feel like you're going to be able to share with us tonight. And I'm so excited. So please take time, introduce yourself, tell everybody a little bit more about what you do in Dale Carnegie.
All right. Thank you. I accept the challenge.
Yes.
So Dale Carnegie, interesting business. So I've been doing this for about 21 years. And I got in because I participated in a Dale Carnegie course back in the late 90s.
Oh, wow.
And I found that it gave me a new confidence to take on challenges that I was a little bit hesitant to do when I was in a career with ADP.
Okay.
And so, it came about because I was trying to get into a job role, like a sales job, and I was turned down, and I wasn't happy about that. So what I did was I went and, as we all do, you commiserate with your relatives. You're like, I don't know why they didn't like me. I don't know why they didn't want me. I don't understand, right? And my grandparents came to the rescue, and they said, when you were transitioning from high school and just graduated and going into college, we offered you a Dale Carnegie class. And I was just like,
wow.
I know, right? And I had turned it down because I was just like, well, I'm pretty social, I don't need communication skills.
I got this.
Yeah, I got this. And turns out I did, but 10 years later, I had to pay for it myself. So I took the class and I took the program, and it really did fundamentally change my life. Everything that we do in Dale Carnegie is based off of his book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Mm-hmm. And so, his organization is a global organization. Our organization is a global organization. So we have about 170 offices around the world.
Wow,
we're translated. We're translated into 35 languages. And, we are in, I think it's 85 countries.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
So, and there's one really core thing that holds it all together. And the reason that we've been around for 113 years, and it's about people dealing with other people. Mm-hmm. And, how do we connect? How do we communicate? How do we just have better human relations with each other? And as much as we get into a technology-driven world, we still have to have that. Yeah. As much as they're talking about AI and this, that, and the other thing now, and they are like, oh, AI is going to take jobs. It's going to take some, but it's still, there's going to create another market out there.
Absolutely.
And people still have to work with other people.
Right.
And we're seeing that come full circle with the newest generations. And so, that's why I got into the business is, I love the return that I got and the behavior changes that I went through to become the person that I was. And when I had an opportunity to get into the business, I jumped at it. And so, I've been leading the office here in the state of Connecticut for 21 years now. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't seem like work.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
That's the best
because
feeling.
yeah, there are times, there's a couple economic downturns that, stood us on our edge, but it's just about seeing people, and I told this to somebody today. They were interested in becoming part of our organization, and they asked me, what's the one thing that you find most valuable about the organization? What do you get the most out of it? And I'm like, that the best thing is seeing when somebody just connects and they get it, and you could see the change literally in their eyes. Yeah. Right. And it's just like, and their face scrunched up, and they're like, oh yeah, I get that. Right. And then that's what just keeps you going. It's just, it's those opportunities to help people and change their behavior and see that they're going to do something different for the rest of their lives. So, like I said, it's a great organization. The outcomes are fantastic. And, when you do it right, people are just appreciative and they love the new them,
Right.
It's like the Ozempic for the mind, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good comparison though.
So, and that's all we're trying to do is, and we work pretty exclusively with companies now. Companies coming to us and saying, we need our people to operate differently.
Right.
And a lot of it's tied back to when they operate more collaboratively, their productivity goes up, their efficiencies go up.
The efficiency must tie into that.
Yeah, and we can tie it right back to their profitability, right?
Yeah.
And when people work together, they're more profitable.
Absolutely.
And so the companies that come to us, whatever size they are, we work with giant companies, we work with small.
Well, thank you for coming here.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah. I mean, it's completely open, and and your success really depends on your ability to be confident and just put yourself out there, and and we're a small business too. I mean, we have a staff of 5 people. We're just in the state here, and it seems like it's a large organization, but our office is it's a small business in itself.
You put a lot of hours in there, or what? What's your day look like?
What's my day look like? So we are empty nesters now. So our son he got a job. He graduated from college. He graduated from grad school, and he got a job, and he moved out to Providence. But my day starts early. I like to get into the office around 7. I like to clean up emails and get myself prepared. And then depending on what's going on, in a lot of cases, I'm either working with helping to design programs. I'm delivering programs as a facilitator. I'm working with my team to put things out there, or, I'm doing executive coaching. Today was pretty exclusive today and tomorrow, just doing executive coaching, one-on-one work with individuals, small businesses, people that want to have that one-on-one, that individual connection to try and get themselves to a different place.
Yeah, it makes it much easier to have that connection with a one-on-one person.
It is. I would say, and it's a huge market out there too, with executive coaching or management coaching, performance coaching, whatever you want to call it. But it's so great just to, be able to, really explore the depths of what's going to make somebody more successful in their jobs.
Yeah.
A lot of it's leadership. So, yeah.
That's so interesting. Do you find yourself, or have you found yourself with like a solopreneur reaching out to be like, I don't have a team yet, but I want to better myself, or I want to be better for, when my team does come, or I want to be better prepared. Is that something that you've experienced?
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't come as often. One of the things that I do regret when I left my large Fortune 500 company was my expense account.
Oh, yeah.
And my training account, because as a solo business, it's coming out of your bank account,
right.
And that happens to me as well.
Yeah.
But the people that really believe in their own development and are willing to put the money down to do it really see a significant increase in their bottom lines. We had, it was a few years ago now, but an investment advisor come in. And, he was willing to invest in himself, and he plunked down the money. And, we really spent a lot of time and effort to help him to see how he can connect more effectively with his prospects and his customers, and, really develop that relationship. And, he could really tie back to that moment. Now, it wasn't the only thing that helped him, but he tied back to that moment that was the opportunity that gave him to really ramp up his outcomes and his success.
Yeah.
And that's, it's really sometimes just getting people to believe in themselves.
I agree with that completely. I feel like as someone who works with people all the time, whether it's with our makers at the bazaar or with customers through our wood shop, or networking, whatever that might be. I mean, the importance of the person-to-person interaction is huge. Yeah. And your email response, how you respond, in the written way.
He has his wife do it.
Yeah. I feel like it's an art form that is going to come full circle with, talking about how AI is really triumphant right now.
Right.
But I feel like I saw something where people were like paying for services to go on a walk with someone so that they could have that one-on-one interaction. And I do think that people are going to want to invest in themselves. So having you on here is perfect.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Absolutely. I know.
So tell me more about, like what are things, I don't, obviously you can't go through all your training and stuff, but I know you brought
Let's do that.
your golden book.
Yeah.
I know. Look at this.
Can you show it to the camera a little bit and,
Sure.
and tell everybody a little bit more about, what this is?
Right. So, as I said, our organization's 113 years old. So Dale Carnegie actually was a guy. He was a real person, right?
From Harlem.
Yeah. Well,
No?
he started in Missouri.
Oh, Missouri.
Yeah, he was born and raised in Missouri. Dirt poor farmers.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he had no money whatsoever, but he had ambition, and so what he wanted to do was get away from that farm, and so he went to college for about a year, and he was a debater in college, so he could communicate, he could talk, and he was very into his church and that type of thing. And eventually he found that he really wanted to make some money. So this is in the early 1900s. And so what he did was he dropped out of
Isn't
college.
that funny, though? We were born in the 1900s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're there.
Yeah.
All right, continue.
Yeah, no, I got it. Yeah. Way back. Yeah. And so he dropped out of college and he got a job selling correspondence courses. And he realized that, very early on that he had to make a real connection. Then he talked his way into selling meat and cheese products in South Dakota. And he took the last place territory and he made it into the first place territory.
I love that.
Yeah. I mean, it was a real success story, and he was lighting up. They wanted to promote him.
Yeah.
And he had a dream to go be a novel writer in New York City.
Wow.
And so he dropped out of that program. He moved to New York City, didn't know anybody, had no money. And he decided that he was going to be a writer.
Wow.
And, his trials and tribulations of making that happen. Because he was a debater, he was looking for a little extra cash. So he went to the YMCA in Harlem and they gave him a job doing public speaking classes.
Oh.
Yeah.
And so that's where he really started learning and refining the way that people communicate with each other, helping them build confidence, communicate more effectively, the human relations skills. And over the course of 25 years, he developed a company. And, we're talking about the time, too, where the Industrial Revolution was starting to congregate in metropolitan areas. And people were coming out of this agricultural society where they see the same people all their lives, and they probably don't get more than 10 miles away from where they were born, moving into these big cities, and they had to all interact together.
Right.
And so he built his clients, his programs, and he started having people come in. Well, I mean, this guy was a marketing genius too, right? So he used to run programs at Carnegie Hall in the early 20s. So, 8-10 years in. And so he ran programs. So he changed his name from Carnegie with a Y at the end to Carnegie, like Andrew Carnegie, that was Carnegie Hall, just so people would make the association.
Wow.
Yeah, and he got so
nice
he got so
tidbit.
famous that they asked him, Simon and Schuster, the book publishers, asked him to write a book. Now he'd already written a couple of books, but that's where How to Win Friends and Influence People came from. And so and that was in 1936. So that propelled him into
That was the book?
That was the book.
Yeah.
Is that still relevant today?
Yeah, I'll share with that in a minute.
Okay.
So he wrote the book. It propelled him into this fame that he never even thought of, right? I mean, he was scraping together a living in the early part of his life. But I mean, a fame where the book, the How to Win Friends and Influence People, became the second best-selling book in the world,
Wow.
right behind the Bible.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
pretty impressive.
I mean, and this is before
pretty
social
impressive.
media. I mean, they
sure.
had radio. There was no TV.
It's all traditional media.
Yeah, it was-
I mean,
it was-
before TV.
Yeah, it was just
Wow.
radio and print and that type of thing.
Right.
And so his programs started getting to be in real demand. And so he couldn't do it all on his own anymore. So he started offering licenses to people to deliver his program for him. And that's how we started developing the different offices around the world.
Wow.
But the book is broken up into every chapter. There's 30 chapters, and each chapter is a principle in this golden book. So this is kind of the summarized version
Oh,
of
it's
that.
the Cliff Notes.
It's a little bit of Cliff Notes, yeah. So everything that we do is based on 3 of the topics here. So the first one is building strong relationships. The second one is gaining willing cooperation. And the third one is being a strong leader, individual leader, right? You might not have the position, but just being a strong leader.
Right.
And so the emphasis of our programs is tied back to these principles.
Sure.
And so, whatever we do is, some way we're bringing it back here. And so you asked Steve, the question is it relevant? Yeah. You know why it's relevant is because these principles still teach people how to connect, and we went through, a little bit of a downturn with all the technology that people had.
Exactly. That's why I was asking you.
And what we were finding was as technology grew, organizations were coming to us and saying, we need our people to talk better. Right. We need them to interact. We need them to collaborate.
Right.
And they're not doing it. We have people afraid of the phone. Right. And, they
There's
don't want to pick
people,
up the phone. Yeah, they don't want to pick up the phone and call each other.
You're absolutely right.
Right. They don't want to walk down the hall just to have a conversation. And so that's why the relevancy of what we do is still really strong, is because we always talk about that in our programs is getting people out of their comfort zone. And that comfort zone is that, that little circle that you reside in. You're like, that's, and in the back of your mind, as you get closer and closer to the edge of that comfort zone, your mind's going, no, I don't want to go there. Stop.
I want to get back underneath the covers.
Right, exactly. And what we find is that if we can get people to explore the edges and go beyond the edges of their comfort zone, that's where real growth takes place. And we're a growth company, so we don't just go out there and lecture. We don't go out there and talk at people. Our main goal is to deliver an application of how they can do things differently. So if it's a communication technique, right? So, there's a way to disagree agreeably, right? So that's one of our techniques,
so
right?
basically you're reprogramming the way they think in a way.
In a sense, it's not
in
so
a bad
much,
way. I'm just talking about
I mean, there is
how they think.
There is a reprogramming organization that's out there. What we do is we get them to buy into the change. Right. Because there's Mr. Carnegie came up with this a long time ago, and it was we called it the cycle of growth and change. And it starts off with you have an idea, you have a vision of what you want to accomplish, right? So visioning is very important in what we do, right? You have to have that vision to really understand the direction you want to go. You can't craft any journey without looking into the future and saying, this is what I want to accomplish.
Right.
So we start with there, right? What is it that you want to accomplish? Is there a skill that you want to do? Is there a technique? There's something that you want to accomplish. And then we go and we get the attitude prepared. And what we mean by that is you have to be in the right frame of mind to be able to do that. If you don't believe that you can do something, it's never going to happen.
Right.
I totally agree with that.
If you're not willing to go and put in the effort, it's not going to happen.
Nope.
So we have to get that.
Nope.
Right. And that's the initiative that we're talking about here. So we have to get them to believe in it. So one of the first things that we do is we ask them to create a vision, and then we say, well, what's in it for you? Right? Because there's got to be something in it for you.
Yeah.
Right. And people only do something if they believe there's something in it for them. So we convince them that's, you convince them to convince themselves to make that happen.
Yeah.
And then we go and we give them the knowledge, right? When it's, it's looking at it from that point of view, you look, okay, we'll give them here's the book, right?
Right.
Anybody can read the book. You can buy it at Barnes & Noble. You can buy it on Amazon. Anybody can read the book, right? That's the knowledge. It's there.
Right.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with it? So in our programs, we have taught our trainers or our facilitators how to coach people to that success, right? Here's how you do it, right? Here's how you apply that knowledge so that you can gain that skill, right? And it's a circle because it's the way adults learn, right? If you're not willing to learn something, what's the likelihood you're going to do it?
No. You're fighting against it,
Yeah, you're going to
basically.
drag your feet.
Right. Yep.
So, and that was the system that we've been using for 112 years.
Wow.
And it seems to be working.
Yeah. Well, and it was really interesting because when Mr. Carnegie started his program in Harlem, he was getting paid by the session.
Wow.
So if he couldn't get people to come back the next week, he wasn't getting paid again.
Right.
Right. So he had to find a way to get people to keep coming back.
That gives you the
Yeah.
drive.
Right. Yeah.
That's
so
where
and
the drive comes in.
it's still embedded into our programs. There's a reason you want to come back next week because we're going to learn this and this is what you're going to get out of it. And this is how it's going to be important to you.
That's awesome.
So the principles are all here and we go through and help people understand how to apply those principles and make them a part of your life. Now there's 30 of them, right? And you know, it's not like you're going to change every single one, but what you need in the moment, there's probably a tool in here that will get you there.
Yeah.
Right. And so you go and you grab that tool and you do it. And then when you're ready, you grab the next one and you learn how to do that one.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, you just wash, rinse, repeat, wash, rinse, repeat, and just keep going until you're getting to that place. And, you know, it's what's great about it. And I tell this to people all the time. It's a great way to live too. You know, I mean, it's, you know, and that helped me too. I want to live this way.
Right.
You know, I want to believe in people. I want to encourage people. I want to be empathetic to their needs, but I also want to challenge people to get them to that level.
Right. Absolutely.
Now, if you're my son, you probably don't want to hear that anymore.
No, I know.
You've been hearing it his whole life. Yeah,
They'll listen to their friends, but they won't listen to their parents. No.
Well, he's gotten to that place now where he's listening. So yeah. He's in the work. He's
Yeah,
in
he
the
must
work
be in
zone.
at least the mid-20s then, right?
Yeah.
30s.
Yeah,
maybe?
mid-20s.
Yeah. Okay.
So-
Because mine didn't start until they were hit 30s.
Yeah, then you do something. Yeah.
They're like,
then-
oh,
then
now
you're-
I
oh, okay,
understand
now
what
I
you
get-
went through. I'm
now I
sorry
get what
about
you were
that,
talking
Dad.
about. Yeah. Understood. So.
I just think it's so cool how I mean, just even having this, I mean, now I wrote down obviously the title of the book because I'm a bookworm and now it will be on my
Yeah.
list for the new year.
I think I'm going to pick one up too. Yeah.
But, you know, just reading through like it kind of was like the middle of the booklet, but it was like, you know, stop worrying and start living, you know, and as an entrepreneur, you're in fight or flight a lot of the time in terms of that. And so of course I caught my eye and I was like, you know, and there are things in here that already are things that I could in the moment keep this with me, look at it and be like, okay, it's a different viewpoint. It's a different way to approach a situation or it's a different way to approach a conversation with somebody. You know, there's a million different ways that I think that even just this could be so helpful for entrepreneurs, for people who are working just regular 9-to-5 jobs. Or, you know, you have whatever going on with your family. Like there's so many things. I think that's
I
absolutely
know.
wonderful.
I'm noticing some of the stuff I'm reading here. I'm like, yeah, I've been there.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's true. A lot of this stuff is true. 100% of it is actually. Now that I'm reading it, yeah.
It's you know, we like to think that it's
You
things
could have
that
saved me a
learn.
lot of time if I knew you earlier.
And that's when I first started in 2004. You know, for the first 2 years, you know, every time we would get some graduations, we'd get at least 2 or 3 comments on the end of session comment cards of, "I wish I did this sooner."
Right.
You know, I mean, and it really is. That was one of the reasons why for a long time we had a teenager program.
I think that
because
makes perfect sense.
It really does.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we had a teenager program and the parents would come in and they were like, I should have done this way earlier in my life. And I want my kid to get it. Right.
Yeah.
And it really was one of those things. It was like, it's so common sense to do something like that. But we always say common sense isn't common practice. You know, because people don't have the same experience levels and they don't have the same understanding of the world.
Right.
But you know, when you think about some of those principles, you know, you probably learned a lot of them in kindergarten.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And but you didn't learn how to apply them.
Right.
That's
And
correct.
that's what we're really good at, is teaching people how to apply them and make them successful so that you become more successful.
And sometimes when you
Right.
try to apply them, it's uncomfortable for
Sure.
them also
Yeah.
to take the leap. Yeah. So
Well, you got to be willing. And
Right.
that's sometimes if you're not in that right frame of mind, then you're not willing to take the leap.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's like, you know, we're coming up at the end of the year. And I always tell this to people, we're coming up, you know, so we're going to make some New Year's resolutions.
what are yours?
You read my mind. How'd you know I was going to ask you about this?
Yeah.
Okay,
We're going to make
go
some
ahead.
New Year's resolutions, right? And, you know, for the most part, one of the things that we do in our program is that we make people, we really do make them make commitments. So, you know, if you're in the program, whether it's a leadership program, a communication program, conflict management program, whatever it is, sales, presentation skills, we're constantly asking them, okay, you have to make a commitment. What is that commitment going to be? And it's the same thing with the New Year's resolution. You're committed to do it. I'm going to committed to get healthier. I'm committed to do something else. But we also make them say it out loud, because once you start saying it out loud, then it becomes more
Real.
of a concrete reality.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. And if you tell other people, then they might hold you accountable to it. Right.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right. But then we don't stop there. We ask them to make a plan.
Yeah.
Because nothing's going to come true if you don't have a plan. And even if the plan blows up on you, at least you understood that you created something that's going to start you on the path.
Or
to
if
your
it
journey.
blows up on you, you could probably tweak it to make your plan work.
Yeah.
Well, and that's where you need to be flexible, right?
Right.
So, your no plan is going to, hit the road and come out at the other end exactly the same way.
foolproof,
Yeah. As Mike Tyson used to say, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. I mean, yeah. And then you twist, you turn, you adapt, right? And but if you don't make a plan, then you're just not prepared.
Right.
Right. So, and, when we do programming, whether it's, like I said, leadership, communication, presentation skills, we're constantly asking them, okay, what are you going to do? How are you going to do it? What is your commitment to making this happen?
Yeah.
And then, you do things like make them write it down. You do things like, okay, we have an electronic participant experience software, which is, a good way to say it's a paper manual electronically. And in there we can say, okay, you're gonna write down, you're gonna type in your commitment, and then email it to yourself. And then because then it's there the next day, and
Right.
they have to look. Oh yeah, I did email that. Oh, I guess I have to do this. But we take
I
it to
never
the next
thought of that.
level.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, right.
It is.
Because it shows up. It reminds you.
Exactly.
Right?
Wow.
But then we make them the next time we get together. We ask them, how did that go?
Right.
Right. Because it's hard to hide in one of our programs, because we ask everyone,
Right.
Yeah.
tell us what you learned, tell us how it went.
And it gives them accountability too.
Yeah,
Right,
absolutely.
right.
100% accountability.
Yep.
Right. And if they know that they have to get up and say that in front of the whole room,
Yeah.
It's like
Right,
saying
then
a book
then they're
report.
gonna be
You're
ready,
like,
yeah.
I can't make this up. Right. And so people will actually go forward and do that because they know that that's the expectation.
Yeah.
And that changes behavior.
and that gives them the drive that they need. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's an investment. It's a strong investment in themselves to find the success they're looking for.
Yeah.
And I find I find a lot with entrepreneurs. I find a lot with small business owners. They're really good at one thing,
Yeah.
right? And it's great that they've had the confidence, they've taken the leap, they're doing it. What you need them to do is to look inward and say, okay, what am I not good at? What do I need to be good at? And then take that leap of faith that they can get stronger at it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, they're like, oh, well, I can never do networking, or I can't do sales. It just happens naturally. Well, if you want to keep it going,
Right.
you got to learn how to do those things.
Yeah.
Right. And make it effective for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it could get expensive too if you hire out marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people, I think, just because of the maker world that I'm in every day, I'm very grateful. I have my husband who's wonderful at doing all the operational things, all the back end things, whereas I'm a very front of house. I do marketing, sales, vendor relations, that event planning, PR. But like that's my specialty.
Right.
And so we're very fortunate, but a lot of entrepreneurs are on their own, or, it's a CEO who's managing a much larger team. And I feel like I can't even imagine. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think knowing what you're good at is awesome, but also knowing what you're not good at and how you can either have somebody, who is a teammate or a partner with you, or invest and figure out how to be better. There was and I feel like I've talked about this on the show a few times, a public speaking class I took in college.
Oh, yeah.
And I give Champlain College major call outs and kudos for this class, because without this class, I wouldn't be able to do, like this morning, I had 2 or 3 news interviews. I've done radio interviews. And now I'm like, I could do anything. But in this class, I had to go and I had to sing in front of my classmates with no music.
Don't recreate that, please.
Oh, it was terrible. I had smash mouth. I was shaking. I was sweating, but it was pass fail.
Yeah.
And I had to do it.
Right.
And for myself, I had to do it. And I remember psyching myself up. I had all my note cards so I didn't forget the lyrics.
Yeah.
But it was like 30 or 60 seconds of just people staring at you singing.
Yeah.
And after that class, I felt like I could talk
Relief.
to anybody. I could do anything. Like anything else was nothing compared to the embarrassment that I just went through.
It gives you a huge
But I was
relief. As soon as you're done, you
Yeah.
get the relief. It's
Yeah.
instant gratification.
It was amazing. And so I feel like stuff like this, all these different options that you guys are offering are so tremendous for people, again, no matter where you fall in the work world, to always be better, whether it's to be a better human, to be a better employee, or to be a better manager,
Right.
Whatever that might be. My big thing is treat people like a person.
Yeah.
That's why one of the reasons why I left corporate world was because I wasn't being treated like a person, and I refused to do that to anybody. You may have disagreements.
Yeah.
You may not have the same thought process, but always be kind and just hear somebody.
empathetic also.
Always.
Yep, empathy is a big
I don't
thing.
know. That's my
In my
that's
book,
jam.
anyways.
Yeah.
But it's fascinating too, because we always talk. Everyone always knows the golden rule, right? Treat others as you want to be,
Yes.
as they
Right.
want to be treated.
Yep.
And we always say, particularly when we're working with leaders, is don't go just stop at the golden rule, get to the platinum rule, and that is treat others as they want to be treated. Right. Because what happens is that, you might have gotten to a place where you're comfortable doing certain things. They might not be there yet.
Right.
You are
And
correct.
so you have to evaluate where people are and then get them to that place by treating them the way that they feel respected. And,
Right.
and you're empathetic to that view of them.
Right.
But you have to really take the time to learn about people. And I always say this too with my leadership programs or when I'm coaching. There's levels of what we're looking for here, right? So the first level is that you have to have a strong relationship. If you're not investing time in building relationships, there's never going to be trust established.
Right.
And we have to aim for that trust, right? Because with trust comes so much. When you have trust, people will be more committed to whatever they're doing. If they're working for you, if they're working for the job or whatever it is, once you establish that trust, they're going to be more committed. And when they're more committed, they're going to give extraordinary effort, right? We call it discretionary effort. They're going to give the above and beyond. And as a small business person, right, that's the one thing that you got to hope for is that everyone's connected, they're on board, they're willing to go along with you. And that's where that trust comes into it. But it's really about strengthening the relationships.
Yeah.
And so many people can get very uncomfortable with that.
Right.
Right. Oh, I don't want to pry. I don't
Right.
want to dig in too much. There's people out there that are very private, and we get it, right? And if you come across those people, honor that,
Right.
understand. But most people really want to talk about themselves.
Yeah.
It's amazing how many people want to talk about themselves, and you just have to give them an opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
An
Yeah.
interesting story that Dale Carnegie tells in his book. He talks about going to a dinner party, and this is after the book came out, and he was pretty famous at the time. And he did one marketing thing besides the one I just explained about changing his name, but he did one. He put his the picture of himself on the dust cover of the book. So he was very recognizable as well. And like I said, before TV, maybe he was on a couple of newsreels or something like that. But,
Right.
really nothing except he was writing some newspaper things. He had a radio show. But he put his picture on the dust cover. So he was very recognizable. So he sits down at a dinner party and a woman sits down next to him and she was like, oh my God. Same thing we would do. Dale Carnegie, right? And he introduced her, hi, I'm Dale. And she goes, oh my God, I love your book, and this, and she goes, this is going to be the best, because they were going to be at the dinner party for, a couple of hours, I would imagine. And so he looked at her and he said, hey, have you done anything interesting lately? And she had. She had gone on an African safari vacation for like 3 months, and she had just gotten back the month before. She was just bursting over with excitement to tell somebody about it. And he just prompted her and, asked her just leading questions and what happened then and how did that work? And it just share a visual of what that looks like. And at the end of the night, as they're putting, they're getting ready to go and she looks at him, she's shaking his hand and she goes, Mr. Carnegie, everything they say about you is so true. And he was like, oh, really, what? And she goes, you are the best conversationalist ever. And he barely said anything except some prompting questions, right?
People that say that about me too.
Yeah, and it's just, and the reality is that's what people want. They want somebody to be interested in them.
Right. Generally
Right.
listen to them.
Yeah,
And be present with them.
Yeah,
Exactly.
be present. Yeah, and that type of thing. And that's usually what people want.
Yeah.
So the more you invest in strengthening that relationship, the easier things will be for you.
Absolutely.
Right. And, they've done studies on luck and this, that, and the other thing. And luck comes down to, the persistence and it comes down to, the willingness to take a chance. It doesn't just come down to, I just happen to be in the right place at the right time.
I just bought the right lottery ticket.
Yeah,
It's not like
right.
that
Yeah,
at all.
Yeah. I always say this, and I have a networking talk that I give. And I said, the first question I always ask is, does it take luck to win the lottery? And I get about 80% of the people say, yeah, absolutely. It takes a lot of luck. I said, what happens if you don't buy the ticket?
Right. You can't win if you don't play.
You can't win if you don't
That's
play.
right.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
have no luck. And people are like, oh, okay.
Now I get it.
And I lead into, we make our own luck.
Yeah.
Right. And it's the same thing with relationships, is that you make your own luck. It depends on how much you're willing to invest in it.
Right.
Yeah.
I
So
totally
it's
agree with that.
building that relationship thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. All of that speaks so much to my, just like
Yeah.
my heart, my soul, why I do what we do, why, probably all of us do what we do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You should sell these at your
I know. I
not
feel like
sell
I
them,
need,
but just
I feel like I need a bunch of them
I know.
for all of our people.
So, how do people, like, let's say a big corporation approaches you? What do they do? Just go on your website and say, "Hey, we have X amount of employees." Do they tell you exactly what problems they're having, or do you have an automatic agenda and the people that hire you already know what they're getting?
So it's a lot of what we're doing recently is custom design work. So we go into an organization and we do have off the shelf things, right? I have a program here. Here you go. That's a program. I
Sure.
can give that to you. And a lot of our customers, many of our customers do use it that way. For the most part, when we get an inquiry, we get a lead that comes in, what we like to do is we like to sit down and talk to them.
Get a little homework.
Yeah, well, it's just the discovery is really critical to understand what their need is, because sometimes they can look at the website and go, I need that. And you talk to them and you're like, no. You should probably have this.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's helpful for us to make the connection of what they're trying to accomplish.
Right.
Because sometimes, we want them to understand that you have a thought in mind about what your outcome will look like, right? Because this isn't tangible,
Right.
right? I have these. I have a couple of books. That's not what I'm in the business for. We're in the business of changing people,
Correct.
but we need to understand what your vision is of that change. What is it that you want to accomplish? Because then people, if you understand that vision, then you can apply the training to achieve it, and then they're happy, right? So if they come in, what we are going to do is we're going to sit down and we're going to have a conversation, and we're going to learn about their company, their organization, their goals, what the directives are, what their issues are right now, because that's a big thing too. We're in the problem solving business.
Sure.
So most of the people that come to us have problems, right? These two people don't get along. My team's not collaborating. My salespeople can't sell. I have people. We had one client that had a whole bunch of sales engineers, and the owner came to us and he was just like, listen, I just had to sit through quarterly meetings, and if they're presenting that badly to me, I can't imagine the way that they're presenting to our clients.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
How much business am I losing?
Right.
Right.
So he put him through a presentations program, right? And these are engineers, right? Engineers didn't get into engineering because they wanted to be good with people.
No, my son's an
Exactly.
engineer. Trust me, I know.
Yeah, right. So but there are
a totally
some that
different
can-
ballgame.
yeah, and so that's what we're doing. We're teaching them how to be personable, how to build relationships, how to really connect with people, because there's tons of business out there, and they might be missing it because they're uncomfortable doing
So,
it.
in other words, when someone has a consultation about their business or their company or whatever, do you take that back to your team and then come up with a strategy and then go in there and do your damage?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, it's as with any sales organization, you don't lead with product.
Right.
you really try and understand what it is that's going to solve their problem and then deliver that.
I
Right.
see.
And that's part of our sales program too, right? I mean, we have a sales program that teaches a methodology that's 75 years old.
Yeah.
And the reason it is because it works.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
If it ain't
And
broke, don't fix it.
yeah, we're a sales organization first.
Yeah.
We do no training unless we sell somebody on doing training.
Right.
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 You know what I mean? And the biggest thing here is that you've really got to sell them on it because once again, it's intangible, right? They can't touch it, they can't feel it. A lot of cases, they can't measure it. And, it's not something that you can look at and you can go, okay, wait, they went from 1 to 5.
Right.
Right. Because it's like, how do you measure communication skills? Oh, they're getting better at it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
That's intangible, right?
Right.
So that's why you have to come up with, okay, what are you seeing them doing differently? And then let's create a program that's going to get us there.
Gotly.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Helps you out too.
Well, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, and I'm thinking too, you were talking about before we're getting to the new year, people are talking about, making goals, especially as business owners. I know Eric and I are planning our full 2026 campaigning strategy and everything like that for the bazaar right now. Is there any advice you could give to entrepreneurs, small business owners who are listening, as they're getting ready for their new year? I know you were saying some of the things, obviously you can't give away everything, but like one tip or one trick that you would give to them to kick off or set up for their new year planning or success or anything like that?
I think the biggest thing that most small business owners don't do enough of is sitting down and actually thinking about a plan and then documenting that plan, right? They have a vague idea in their head, like, we want to do this, but get it down on paper. I know one of the things that I do every year right around this time during the Christmas holiday, my team takes the vacation and that type of thing, and the office is nice and quiet. So I go in and I do my yearly planning, but I actually write down the statistics and the data, and I go back in and like, okay, how many programs do we do? How many hours? What were our scores like? What was our profitability? And I really sit down and I take a look at that because it really helps me to understand, okay, what do we need to do to keep improving?
Right.
And to get to that place.
What's
what
working,
trends
what's
am I
not
seeing?
working, and what you need to add.
Yeah.
I got you.
And you could do that with, not only the data, but the metrics about your business, but you could do it about your human capital as well. You can do it about the markets that you want to get into. How are we going to grow? What are we going to expand to? What worked, what didn't work, right? And make better, more informed decisions. And I think as small business owners, they get caught up in the day-to-day,
Yes.
but they're not strategic in the sense of looking above, can you see the forest through the trees?
Right.
Right.
Get above the forest and then you'll see how big it is, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And I don't think there's enough of that being done by most small businesses.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree. Eric and I sat down today at the diner and we literally pen and paper, lined paper.
Yeah.
Just outlined the title was 2026, and then we broke it down by month and our campaign and what initiatives we were going to do each month and how, when, all that stuff, because we have found that doing that gives us this roadmap. For the first year we were open, we were very reactive, and as a small business, you're trying to figure out what works, what doesn't work, where's all the money going, all those big questions. And now we're in we've been open for 2.5 years with this business
And doing a hell of a job.
Well, thanks. But we're learning a lot, and we're working our tails off, and we're like, okay, well, how do we continue to grow the business? So it's it's nice for me in a selfish way. It's nice to hear that, it's not a weird thing. I'm a very pen to paper type of person when it comes to brainstorming or anything like that. I'm also a huge list maker, which is, good, bad. The list just keeps growing.
Yeah.
But I think that's really cool to hear that from you, someone who does this professionally for people who are looking to really start their new year in the right way.
Yeah,
Have you ever had people come to you and really say, hey, you changed my life?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What's interesting, I haven't seen this recently, but I remember in the first 5 years I was in the business, we were at a conference, like a business showcase or something like that. And having a gentleman come up to me and show me his graduation certificate from 1952.
Really?
And he took the program and he was like, this changed my life. Yeah. Oh yeah, we get that all the time. This program changed my life.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you find that some people that take your programs end up in different professions than they started with, using
Yeah.
the same mentality that you taught them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. There's a lot of awakenings that happen sometimes, much to the detriment of our clients, because sometimes they're like, "You talked them out of our job," right? And we're just like, "We didn't do it; they did it themselves," right? Yeah. It's fascinating that way. It can be very. I guess enlightening is the word.
Right.
For
That's
people
why
that
I
go
asked
through
that
it.
question. I'm like, because there's certain things that enlightened me, and I'm like, I never thought I would be doing this or that, or it's just like because that switch goes off, and you're like, oh, maybe I should try this, and yeah, it definitely works for me.
It can be very help you create focus in what you want to do and what you want to accomplish.
Right.
And I remember one time there was a woman that was taking the program from a large company down in Stamford. And I remember I was talking to her and I was like, well, what brought you to the class? She goes, well, I noticed that there was a bunch of people getting promoted. And she goes, and I didn't understand why I couldn't get promoted. And so then I found out the common denominator, all those people took the Dale Carnegie course.
Wow.
And she goes, so I had to go take the Dale Carnegie course. Yeah. And I'm like, all
too
right,
funny.
I like it. Yeah. I like it.
So
That's
awesome.
hilarious.
Yeah. She goes, that common denominator. Yeah. But we've had, some of the organizations that we work the best with are the ones that really are willing to invest in their people.
Right.
They believe in their people make their business.
Right.
And they're willing to put them into a program. And it may not always be us. It could be us. It could be other ways of learning. But they're willing to invest in their people. Companies like Stu Leonard's.
Oh, yeah.
We've been working with Stu Leonard's for 65 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And we have a host of companies that, it could be 10 years, 25 years, 65 years with Stu Leonard's.
Wow.
The Wegmans organization. You ever heard of Wegmans?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They just opened a place down in Norwalk.
It's the first one, right? In Connecticut?
First one in Connecticut.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
What is it?
It's a grocery store.
It's like a Stu Leonard's. Yeah.
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 I didn't know
But
that.
they put in all their employees.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's really amazing. They believe in that the communication and the interpersonal skills that they learn are going to impact their employees to work together.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Which is going to take them over into creating great customer service for their customers.
It builds a morality too.
Yeah.
Get it?
Yeah.
And you actually act like a team. And when you act like a team, you obviously get more done and take some of the burden off yourself.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
So-
Cool. Well, I feel like we're probably close to, if not at time.
Okay.
So please let everybody know how they can either find you guys online, best way to reach out to you, all the good information.
Yeah. So once again, we're Dale Carnegie. We're in Connecticut. We reside. Our office is in Naugatuck, which is right off of Route 8. We operate all over the state. And a lot of times we go to people. The best way to do it, www.dalecarnegie.com. Put in your zip code, and if you send us a message, and we'll come out. We have really great information on the website. A lot of knowledge information, white papers, e-zines, that type of thing, and just there's a lot of good stuff on there. So if you're interested, www.dalecarnegie.com is probably the best way to get in touch with us. And, we always will answer as sometime within 12 hours.
Awesome.
Same
Do you have
day.
a social media presence too, or no?
We do. Yeah. We're on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And, I think we have Facebook. Yeah. I'm not a big social media guy. So.
That's good. I
Yeah.
wish I weren't so much.
Yeah.
I know. That's our business, though. We have to be. That's the sad thing about it.
And I get it. I do. It's, one of the things that, we stress is really getting in there. It's a hard sell sometimes on the social media pages.
Yeah.
But if you go to dalecarnegie.com, it's all of our information is right there, and
All
you
in
can
one
connect right
spot.
with us.
Right. Exactly. Which is totally, makes sense.
Yeah.
Especially with something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning into Small Business Social. A huge thank you again to you for being on the
Thank
show
you.
with us. We so appreciate it. I feel like this was so informative and full of wonderful information. So we appreciate your time and
Excellent.
all of the knowledge that you shared with us. And a special thanks to our sponsors, the Bristol Bazaar and Seymour Media, for supporting us on the show. If you love today's episode, be sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram and Facebook. We've got more amazing small business owners and experts coming your way. Until next time, keep supporting small and spreading big ideas. Bye.